And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of MLB DFS Quick Hits, your Tuesday, September 5th edition. Hope everybody had a great Labor Day, had some fun with some friends and family if you had the day off, enjoyed some DFS action on the diamond. Watched Duke upset Clemson in Clemson. That was glorious. Things are good. Things are great in the sports world these days for the most part. So I hope you guys had a good time on Monday. You can find me on Twitter at BDentrek, BDENTREK. We have a 10-game slate for you on Tuesday starting at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's get to the totals we have for now. Tigers, Yankees, 8.5. Mets, Nationals, 9. White Sox, Royals, 9.5. Giants and Cubs waiting on Wrigley. Astros, Rangers, 8.5. Orioles, Angels, 9. Jays, A's, 8.5. Rockies, D-backs, 9. Phillies, Padres, 9. So a lot of nines and belows, nothing too crazy, but I think we'll have more offense than the totals are leading on to, like we saw on Tuesday's explosion across baseball. Pitching on this 10-game slate, Garrett Cole is the top price pitcher at $12,000 at home against the Detroit Tigers. He's worth the price tag. It's Spencer Strider-esque. Spencer Strider's much better than Garrett Cole, don't get me wrong. But Cole's going for the AL Cy Young also. He's been great. He goes up against a Tigers team that you can definitely pick on. 27% K rate versus righties over the last month, 258 average, 171 ISO. I just don't think I'll be paying $12,000 for Garrett Cole. But if you want to, and you can find the value, which we should be able to on a 10-game slate, knock yourself out. Not gonna tell you not to. That's for darn sure. A fun tournament play, Chris Bassett, $9,700 at the Oakland Athletics. A little homecoming for Chris, maybe a little revenge narrative for Chris. We'll see. 3 of his last 5 starts, 23 or more points. He's had some duds in there. This is why it's a tournament play. In those 3 starts, he's done so well, 6 innings or more, 2 runs or less, and more importantly, he's getting you strikeouts. The biggest thing we're picking on is the Oakland Athletics, a team that's been better offensively of late than you'd expect, but still a 23% K rate, 237 average, 185 ISO versus right-handed pitching. So if you want to go Chris Bassett, that's fine. Just know it's a definite tournament play. He's expensive, and he doesn't hit he's got the ceiling in him, just doesn't hit it consistently enough for that price tag, thus the tournament play. One of my top pitchers, I have like 2 pitchers I'm looking to play on this slate, and here's the first one. Dean Kramer, $8,600 at the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Just keep picking on the Angels. Kramer's been pretty darn good overall, 6 innings or more in 4 straight, 2 runs or less in all 4. Strikeouts have been kind of the issue, 5 or more in 3 out of 4. In those 3, he's got 18 or more. He's got 21 or more in 2 of those 4 starts. So he's shown a really good floor with a bit of a ceiling at $8,600. And he gets an Angels team, 26% K rate versus righties, 223 average, 177 ISO, a team that will not have Shohei Ohtani in the lineup on Tuesday, as he did not play on Monday with a right oblique strain. He suffered in batting practice, and he's going to get more testing on Tuesday. So Dean Kramer at 86, very, very solid option on this slate. And then my other target, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Brendan Pfaadt, $6,900 at home against the Colorado Rockies. Pfaadt's coming off of a rough one against the Dodgers in LA. We'll let that slide. Previous 3 starts against Cincy, San Diego, and San Diego, 5 or more innings, 5 total runs, 5 or more Ks in all 3 starts, 16 or more with 20 or more in 2 out of the 3, $6,900 at home against a Road Rockies team that Merrill Kelly sliced and diced for 7 innings with 12 Ks on Monday. They're striking out 29% of the time versus righties over the past month, hitting 244 with a 177 ISO. Those numbers will drop after Merrill Kelly's numbers go in there. So Brendan Pfaadt at 69, I like quite a bit. So my main 2 targets, Kramer, Pfaadt. That's where I'm looking. You can go Garrett Cole. You can go Chris Bassett if you want to be contrarian. If you want to get real crazy, you can go Kyle Hendricks. But I'm keeping it simple. I want Pfaadt, I want Kramer, and I want all the bats on this 10-game slate. Speaking of bats on this 10-game slate, catcher's position for you here. The Phillies have been red hot. JT Realmuto, he's been good, not as red hot as some of the other guys, but pretty good. He's $5,400 versus Avila of San Diego. You can go Rushman at 52 versus Detmers. I like Baltimore on this slate as well. I like Atlanta also. Murphy at 5K versus Mikolas, so all really good spots there. A contrarian play would be the Royals. They put a 12 spot up on Monday in Schultens and company. Bullpen got used a ton by the White Sox. Now you get Dylan Cease, who's been not good of late. So Sal Perez at 44 could be quite interesting. Houston's another wild card. Put up a 13 spot on Monday, swinging really, really good bats. You get Nate Eovaldi coming off the IL. Where's he at? That's the question. Is he back to, dominating stuff we saw early in the season, or is he back to building himself back up to be dominant, which means he can get hit around by a red hot Houston team? That's where that contrarian tournament angle from Houston comes into play. So Yainer Diaz at $4,200 is another one to keep in mind. On that slate, Kyber Ruiz at 43 versus Quintana is not too shabby, but I like Diaz a little more at 42 in that price range. Mitch Garver, pretty good. Went deep again on Monday. Texas, that Houston Texas game blew up on Monday, could blow up again on Tuesday because it's like a total coin toss with Eovaldi and Framber Valdez. Valdez has been scuffling of late. He had the no hitter. He had a near perfect game. Other than that, it's been ugly for Framber Valdez. Mitch Garver at 39, very good tournament play. Texas and Houston, both really good tournament looks on this slate. Going below Mitch Garver, Riley Adams. If you are targeting Jose Quintana, we love Riley Adams versus left-handed pitching. Won't get rostered much at all on this slate. He's $3,400 versus Quintana. The only way Quintana is he's good at limiting the blow up, so it's hard to fully stack him. But I like Riley Adams could be a little bit of a discount at 3,400. Alejandro Kirk at 32 versus Waldachuk. Like that one quite a bit. Keep an eye on the Giants situation. They say Sean Manaea is pitching. He could come in a long relief. We've seen this before, and then he pitches the next day. If Manaea is pitching on Tuesday, Yan Gomes at 32 is nice, but that's definitely one to monitor as the day goes on. Below 3K, though, Miguel Amaya at 28 is another one. Gabriel Moreno at 27 versus Freeland is a nice value as well. I'll keep playing Moreno if you need to punt. I don't play him every day because I don't need to punt, but if you do, Gabriel Moreno would be a good punt as well. And then I'm looking for Higashioka. There he is. He's $2,700. He's the permanent catcher for Garrett Cole going up against Alex Fado. That's an interesting spot there at $2,700. The Yankees kind of getting it going, and it's a good spot there versus Alex Fado. First base, you got Olson versus Mikolas. Mikolas just too much pitch to contact to face a Braves team like this. So Olson at 64 is fine. Harper at 62 is great as well, as he is nuclear hot, as are most of the Phillies, like Trey Turner, who we'll talk about shortly. Vladito at 51 versus Waldachuk. I don't think Toronto gets very heavily rostered on this slate with some of the other options to go to. So that's and it's Oakland Coliseum. It's not one of the best ballparks to hit in as well. So something to kind of monitor. You got Big Meat Pete the Polar Bear, who is crushing it over the weekend. He's 5K versus Patrick Corbin. That's a really fun spot to go to. Again, if you want to target Quintana, Joey Meneses at 47, love him versus lefties. Ryan Mountcastle versus Detmers. I think Baltimore, Detmer's so inconsistent. Mountcastle at 46 is a fun spot to go to as well. Christian Walker is back in the lineup on Monday with his elbow issue. He's 45 versus Freeland. That's a bit of a discount, all things considered. You got Salvi here at 44. Got Yainer Diaz at 42. Remember, catcher, first base eligibility there. DJ LeMahieu continues to be very, very productive of late, especially in the power department, surprisingly. So DJ LeMahieu, excuse me, is $3,800 versus Alex Fito. That's one to like. Yankees probably will be a little contrarian as well, surprisingly, on this slate. And I mentioned them one time last week. I'm like, we're surprisingly stacking the Yankees. Worked out pretty good. So we'll see how it goes on a bigger slate on Tuesday. Some other options down here, though. You got the likes of Jose Abreu at 33 for fading Eovaldi. That's okay. Below 3K now. Andrew Vaughn at 29 versus Singer. The White Sox are interesting. I don't think you have to go to them on this slate. I think there's other options that are in better spots. But Singer missed his last start on the paternity list. He's back. He's kind of been scuffling of late, so you could go to some White Sox bats there. They're just very tough to totally stack up. That's the problem with them. Other than that, Batten, our boy from San Diego, $2,500 first base, third base if you need a super punt. But I don't think you're going to need to go there on this slate. Second base position for you. You got Altuve, who's just on fire. He's $6,200 for Eovaldi. I wish we had two just like 5K pitchers and just take all the 6K mats. That'd be great. But Altuve at 62 versus Eovaldi's fine. Simeon, Albies at 6K might get overlooked with those two guys ahead of him, but he's in a good spot for you as well. You got Ketel Marte versus Freeland at 5K. I'd almost try to find the 6K money or go down, but Marte's fine if you're stacking Arizona. Like I'd rather save $500 with Gleyber Torres, who's been unconscious, getting combo meals for us, doing great stuff. On the first pitch pod, I give out my underdog plays. I Gleyber Torres over a half run for Tuesday against Fado. Torres hitting towards the top of the lineup, playing very well. I like him in that matchup at $4,500. Whit Merrifield's 44 versus Waldachuk. He's second base outfield. That's an option. Mike Soroka is coming back off the IL. I'm usually not the biggest let's play St. Louis bats because they're so inconsistent and they rarely just blow up, where there's other teams on this slate that will blow up. But a guy like Tommy Edman at 43 versus Soroka is intriguing. Going down deeper in the 3K range, Mike Massey at 32 versus Cease if you're going to attack Cease. That is an option. Nick Lofton of Kansas City at 3K versus Cease is another one. But Ronnie Mauricio, second base shortstop eligibility at 3K. I love what this kid's doing. I picked him up in everywhere I could. in Fab this past weekend. He's played 3 games. He's collected 5 hits in 3 games for a 455 average, only 1 extra base hit, but he's got 2 stolen bases as well. He's put up at least 8 points. He's got back-to-back double-digit DK points. He's been super effective getting on base, scoring runs, stealing bags. Mauricio's $3K versus Patrick Corbin, second base shortstop. It's a really good value, really, really good value on this slate. This is a guy over the weekend, he was in the 2K ranges. When we bring up his name, even towards the end of this week, in the next week, he'll be into the 4K range. He's that darn talented. He should have been up over a month ago, but the Mets things, Mauricio's very, very good. So 3K. Even if he puts up a 0 tomorrow, I'll keep playing him at 3K for the value and the ceiling he could bring to the table. Lennon Sosa at 22 is another value I love because he's got the power upside, could put up goose eggs. But when we look for value and you got guys that can hit 1 or 2 home runs a game, that is definite tournament value we're looking for. So Lennon Sosa at 22 versus Brady Singer is another one to keep in mind. Third base, you got Austin Riley at 58 versus Mikolas, totally fine. Bregman at 56, I love. He's been swinging it really, really well. Gunnar Henderson at 55 versus Detmers is cool. Going down below 5K, though, Davis Schneider, second base, third base. Waldachuk was supposed to pitch Monday, got moved to Tuesday because Medina pitched. Schneider got the day off. He'll be back in the lineup against Waldachuk. With Schneider, lefty, play. He's $4,600, second base, third base. We like that quite a bit. Going down deeper now, Miguel Garcia versus Cease. I'd rather play Davis Schneider, $300 more. That's where I'd be going there. Going down to the 3Ks, and looks like we're going to drop straight into the 2s pretty quickly here. Not a ton. Third base might be a pay-up spot on this slate because I'm not going Casey Schmidt. Batten's down here at 25. Clement of Toronto's third base shortstop at 24. Don't hate that. I wish it was a different ballpark. But if you're putting like a J stack together and you want some discounts, Clement could be a dude, but Schneider's the guy you want at $4,600. Shortstop, Corey Seager, double donged on Monday. He's 65 versus Framber, and I don't mind that at all. Bobby Witt at 63 had the day off Monday. He should be back in the lineup on Tuesday, just a regular day off. But just pay $5,900 for Trey Turner. Played his over fantasy on Underdog. He put up 21 points on Monday. 21, 8, 29, 18, 27, 26, 34. That's the last 2, 4, 6, 7 games. He's put up 18 or more in 6 of 7, 20 or more in 5 of 7. He is on fire right now. Keep playing him at $5,900. I took his over 9.5 fantasy points on Tuesday already in my 5-pack. So love me some Trey Turner at 59. Gunnar Henderson at 55 is totally fine, but just try to pay for Trey unless you're stacking. If you're stacking, you're going to go to someone besides Trey. I get it. But if you can pick anybody here, just pay for Trey Turner until he goes ice cold. Make him put up like a handful of zeros in a row and look like a slump again because he's playing that darn good. Now, if you're playing the Mets, Lindor at 49, totally cool versus Corbin. I like that in a Mets stack. Luis Rengifo not doing that because we're pitching Kramer on this site. We're sinking or swimming with Kramer and the discount he brings. But there's Ronnie Mauricio. If you don't play him for his discount at second, you can play him for his discount at short. Second base shortstop, Mauricio, 3K. Phenomenal. One of the better values we've seen so far as we've gone through the bats on this slate. Other than that, nothing too intriguing on this one. Outfield, you got Acuna at 68. That's totally great versus Mikolas. Pitch to contact. Don't mind Judge at 67 off Fado. If they're paying 67, they'll find a way to pay 68 for Acuna. That's just the facts. That works way more often than it doesn't. It's a really solid strategy, but that lowers the roster rates for Aaron Judge at 67, which we do like. Now, again, if you're fading Eovaldi, Alvarez Jordan at 61, Tucker at 6K, both great plays. Love them both. I like Corbin Carroll at 58 in a contrarian angle because people will see lefty versus Freeland. It'll be Freeland and a lot of Colorado bullpen. Carroll was slumping for a bit. He's starting to heat back up again. He's got a 4-game hitting streak. He's hit safely in 5 of his last 6. He's showing some pop. He's stealing his bags. He's doing his thing. He's $5,800. He's a decent low-owned tournament look. Adolis Garcia at 55 versus Framber is totally cool. Nick Castellanos at 51 versus Avila. I passed on Schwarber at 57. That was my bad. That's a great play as well. Phillies are so damn expensive, which makes them difficult, but they've earned the right to be that expensive. Lane Thomas versus lefty. Quintana, 5K. So we like that with Lane. That's something we'd target more often than not. Got Marcell Ozuna at 48 versus Mikolas, who's been playing really, really well. Stanton at 46 is another cheaper Yankees option, and he's been okay of late, hitting 256 over his last 10. 3 home runs. He's put up 20 or more in 2 of his last 4. That's the tournament stuff we like from Stanton. That's the boomer bust that he brings to the table. He's $4,600 and a good matchup for Alex Fado. Going down to the low fours now, I got Lars Newbar at 45. Love playing him. Really, if you play cash, Newbar is a great cash game play. Just what he brings up there, top of the St. Louis order, facing Soroka. That is juicy. Going to the low fours now. Eddie Rosario at 4K is really solid play versus Mikolas, especially in tournaments. I like that. That's even almost one-off-viable with Rosario at $4,000. Could go there. Michael Brantley's 39 versus Eovaldi if you're stacking Texas, but do not play him as a one-off. Maybe in cash, it's fine, but not in a tournament. Going down to the threes now, Tyler O'Neill's 36 for Soroka. If he plays, that's the tilting part with O'Neill these days. Tommy Pham returned to the lineup on Monday with his finger injury. He's 35 versus Freeland. That's a really good spot for Pham, assuming he's healthy, which if he's in the lineup, he better be darn healthy. Low threes now. You got the likes of Brandon Marsh, $3,200. That's a cheap Philly. We'd love to see that. Nelson Velasquez went deep on Monday's 31. Always tournament intriguing from Velasquez, but Marsh at 32 is probably the safer play. But here you go. Mention Mauricio at 3K. Jason Dominguez is only 3K. He's hitting third for the Yankees in this matchup for Fado. He's going to be super chalky, and he should be. Dominguez in his matchup, Mauricio in his matchup, both at 3K. Both should be very chalky, and for good reasons. So I'm going to eat those chalks more often than not with those two players. It's probably where I'll be starting a lot of offenses. Those two with my two pitchers will leave you a lot of money to build up your stacks. That's a great way to start right there. Below 3K, though, you got the likes of Edward Olivares, double donged on Mondays, 25 versus Cease. He'd be one for you. But most of our guys aren't down here anymore, which is kind of refreshing, to be honest, that we don't have like the obvious 2K guys to play. But someone will pop up. Lineups will come out. They'll be in the cheat sheet. We'll see how it goes from there. Recapping your pitching. If you want to go Cole at 12K, you can. If you want to go Bassett at 97, I think it's a great tournament play. But the main guys I'm looking at, Dean Kramer at $8,600 and Brendan Pfaadt at 69. That's where I'm looking. If you want to mix and match Bassett and Cole in there, and maybe some lineups come out that dictate otherwise, because there's some bad teams right now. So you might get some good looks. We will see some lineups. That's where I'm at for now. Stacks. I like the Yankees versus Fado. I like that quite a bit. The Mets and the Nats are both in play against Corbin and Quintana. I like the Mets a little more versus Corbin, just because you can blow up on Corbin. Not as often as you used to, but you can. Quintana's found a way to limit damage, but both are in play. Maybe as like smaller stacks to go with your big stacks would be an angle to go to there. Love Atlanta versus Mikolas. St. Louis is kind of like that Mets-Washington conversation versus Soroka. Could have some viability there with like a Newtbar or a couple guys there, but I'm not going full Cardinal stack. Kansas City versus Cease, super contrarian angle if you want to go there. Like if I want to go contrarian, though, I don't need value contrarian. I want Houston and Texas. I want Houston more than Texas, but I want Houston and Texas. Those teams can both blow up at any moment. We know that, unlike some of the other teams I mentioned to be contrarian with. So if you're going to go contrarian, I prefer Houston and Texas. If you need value, that's where the Mets, that's where the Nats, that's where St. Louis come into play, because Houston and Texas, pretty pricey for the most part. Other stacks here, Toronto's fine versus Oakland. Love Philadelphia. Don't mind Arizona. So my top stacks, Philadelphia, Atlanta, New York Yankees. Probably rank them Philadelphia, Yankees, Atlanta. That's how I look at that. Then tons of contrarian looks. Like I mentioned, Mauricio's too cheap. Jason Dominguez is too cheap. Pitching, we love for value. Lots of ways to go on this 10-game slate, as you'd expect. September baseball is going to be wild as heck. So just buckle up and enjoy the ride the best you can. And I'll be back with you guys hopefully each Monday through Friday to get you ready to the season's end. But that'll do it, folks. Another episode of Quick Hits in the books. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow to preview Wednesday's action on the diamond. But for now, MLB DFS Quick Hits, your Tuesday, September 5th edition in the books. I'm out.